Let's get back to the stand that the professional athletes and full teams are taking in protest of the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. The NBA led the way, with the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday refusing to take the floor in their first-round playoff series against the Orlando Magic. The move prompted the NBA to postpone all 3 playoff games scheduled yesterday, and a number of sports leagues followed with similar boycotts or cancellations of games and matches. I think this could be quite impactful. Willie?
No, there's no question about it. John Heilman, you and I are big NBA fans, been to a bunch of games together over the years. To have LeBron James, the Los Angeles Lakers, and to have the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis, and all the biggest stars in the game walk out, step out, and say, we're not playing until something changes. There have been early reports that the Lakers and the Clippers are in discussions of boycotting the rest of the season, forfeiting a chance to go get another title, which is what these guys all play for. How big a deal do you think this is? How big a deal can it be, especially, obviously, if they yank the whole season?
I think it's a huge deal, potentially, Willie, and I think for a couple of reasons. I mean, just already in this context of this Republican convention, right? If you're Donald Trump and his team, the reason the convention matters so much is that it's your opportunity to have control over your message for 4 straight days, 4 straight nights on national television. And this story, from the moment that Jacob Blake was shot, this story has been looming in the background. Obviously, we've seen the outrage around the country. We've seen the violence in Kenosha. It's been in that background. Donald Trump has tried to push it up and give it more prominence as an issue of law and order. But yesterday, when the NBA stepped out the way that it did, led by the players on the Bucks, and then by other players, and then by the league itself, the NBA pushed this story into the foreground. And now we have a split screen where on one side you have the Republican Party talking about this issue as in racially tinged, at a minimum, and sometimes racist terms, as a law and order issue, as an issue of Democrats are for anarchy. This is about riots and looting. And then the other side, which is this is about police brutality and about racial justice. But with the NBA amplifying that side of the argument, with someone like LeBron James, who is a more popular figure in America than Donald Trump, stepping out, this issue having now become the foreground in some ways, it complicates the politics of this question enormously for Donald Trump, because here you have a whole league vastly popular in the country, populated largely by black athletes and by people like the people you just named, like LeBron, like Giannis, who have incredible cross-race popularity in the country. They are now effectively saying, as Donald Trump and Mike Pence have said in the past, effectively, shut up and dribble. They are effectively saying, no, we're not going to shut up and dribble. And we are going to claim this issue and frame it the way we want to frame it. And that is as powerful a counter argument as anything the Democrats could make. And it puts a lot of weight on that side of the argument. And as I say, complicates the politics of this for Donald Trump, Mike Pence, and the Republican Party, I would say enormously, not just in this week, but going forward.
Yamiche, the NBA has been out front on these issues, led by its players for years now. Remember, after Eric Garner was killed, they had the I Can't Breathe T-shirts in Brooklyn, and players across the league wore them. Also, we were talking in our last hour with Eddie Glaude and Mike Tirico. I noted that yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of the first time Colin Kaepernick sat on the bench for the anthem. He wasn't yet kneeling for it. It was during a preseason game, August 26th of 2016. He was run out of the NFL. He was a pariah. And now you had yesterday the players in an entire league in the middle of a playoff run saying, we are not going to play this game until something is improved in this country. Remarkable.
It's remarkable, but I should tell you, African Americans have been fed up for a long time. This has been at the forefront of black people's minds for a long time. The criminalization of black bodies, the idea that you're anticipating death by police because of the color of your skin. What happened yesterday was a sea change. The NBA saying, we're not playing. We're not your entertainment right now. We are hurting. I think there was this comment by Doc Rivers that stuck with me and stuck with a lot of people that I've been talking to, which is it's a amazing that we continue to love this country, talking about African Americans, when this country does not love us back. What the NBA players are doing is exactly what people on the streets, protesters, have been doing for years, especially, of course, after the deaths of George Floyd, Jacob Blake, Breonna Taylor, so many others. They've been saying this country has to change. This country was founded on the fact that African Americans were enslaved, forced for hundreds of years to work, terrorized for decades, generations of wealth lost, generations of lives lost. And here we are in 2020, and people are saying, what gives? When are we going to see some change? I think that a lot of people are watching, of course, the Republican National Convention, and there's been a lot of frustration because we've heard a lot of support for law enforcement. We've heard a lot of people saying there should not be violence in the streets, but we have not heard the names of the victims of police shootings. We have not heard the names mostly of people who have been terrorized, frankly, by the police. There have been some mention of Jacob Blake, some mention of the fact that there's racial strife in this country, but I think this is reaching a fever pitch during the RNC for a reason. It's not a coincidence that this is happening while you see people like Mike Pence talking about the fact that if Donald Trump is elected, you will be safe, and that if Joe Biden is elected, somehow your safety will be taken away. So I think this NBA thing, this NBA boycott, it might really change some things, but I think there are a lot of people who are still really scared that maybe things won't change, that maybe this will just be a fleeting moment, and we'll talk about these things, and then we'll go back to a life where black people are still killed at higher rates than white people by the police.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.